Hello, I'm High Heel Knight. Welcome to my channel. This is my movie review of Knives Out. It's a 2019 murder mystery comedy film featuring an all-star ensemble cast. The story is about a world-famous fiction novelist named Harlan Thrombey. He's found dead in his mansion from an apparent suicide. However, the day before was his 85th birthday. There was a huge celebration with his entire family. Several generations under one roof, celebrating his life, celebrating his success, celebrating his popularity. So why would a man who pretty much has everything going on in his life great commit suicide? Was it a suicide, or was something sinister actually happening? Because all those family members, while loving on the outside, each have their own sinister agendas and thoughts and things going on. So, a private investigator named Benoit Blanc is recruited in order to help police determine if it was indeed a suicide or was there foul play. Now, before I get into this review, there won't be any spoilers, but I gotta offer a major word of warning. If you have a problem with vomit, seeing vomit, hearing vomit, even thinking about vomit, don't watch this movie. There is vomit throughout the entire film, and it's actually essential to the plot. So if you have a problem with puke, don't watch this movie. So here's how this review will work. Normally I talk about a few things I liked about the movie, a few things I didn't like about the movie, possibly give a discussion section, and then finally offer my verdict. This time around, I'm doing it in reverse. I'm going to start with the discussion, then mention a couple things I didn't like, then a couple of things I liked, and finally offer my verdict. It all makes sense once everything unfolds. So with that in mind, sit back, relax, and let's discuss just the facts, man. Knives Out was written, directed, and co-produced by Rian Johnson. Early in his career, there's an interview in which Rian Johnson says that he doesn't really like it when the audience completely loves his project or completely dislikes his project. He thinks it's much more exciting when the audience is split down the middle. Half of them praising it and think it's absolute genius, and the other half loathing it and think it's a crime against the filmmaking process itself. The problem is, Rian Johnson wound up bringing that philosophy to Star Wars: The Last Jedi. He wrote and directed that movie, and while it was commercially successful and critically successful, it created a huge wedge in the Star Wars fan base. The Star Wars brand is still recovering from the controversial decisions made in Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Myself, when that movie came out, I gave a favorable review, but I also admitted there was some bias because it was a Star Wars film. If it wasn't a Star Wars film, I would pretty much loathe it. And as time goes on, I've started to loathe it more. I can still watch it. When I watch it, I smile, but when I think about it, I just start to go a little crazy. On the other hand, Rian Johnson made a film called Looper before Star Wars, and I enjoyed that movie very much. I found it very interesting. I found it very thought-provoking. I thought it very exciting. And that film was completely his, something that was his own project. So going into Knives Out, it was my hope that, hey, maybe Rian Johnson is just one of those creative types that works best when they're doing with their own thing. They don't worry about corporate pressure. They don't have to worry about selling a bunch of toys and merchandise. They don't have to worry about adapting other people's source material. If he's doing his own thing, maybe that's where he excels. So that was my hope going into seeing this movie. Is this going to be great because it's totally his, or he really is dead set on making the audience go, hey, hey, as they watch the films? To my delight, there's only one significant problem that I have with Knives Out. The private detective Benoit Blanc, he's played by Daniel Craig. And for some reason, that character has a strange southern drawl that's just irritates my ears. When I heard it in the trailers, it irritated me, and as I watched the film, it irritated even more. Granted, the voice actually adds to the comedy aspect of this film, and even there are points when I was laughing, I was still irritated. I'm ha ha ha, but I'm also going, ah. And I also like that several characters make fun of the accent as well. So it's not a total loss, but still, I don't understand. I'll say, I don't understand why that strange accent was used when Daniel Craig's natural accent is wonderful to the ears. suave, that is. So yes, I don't know what the creator thought was behind that voice, but it just totally irritated me and distracted me throughout the film. So yeah, maybe don't have a problem with that voice, but for me it was like There's a lot of things that I could praise about Knives Out, but I'll start with the biggest compliment, reflecting the biggest criticism of Star Wars The Last Jedi. In the Star Wars film, Rian Johnson was obsessed with subverting expectations. The problem is he clearly didn't understand the subtle difference between subverting expectation and pulling the rug out from the audience. He also didn't understand there's only a certain amount of times you can get away with pulling the rug out from the audience. He also didn't understand the idea of setup and satisfying payoff. That just because you do something different or surprising or unexpected, that doesn't mean it's satisfying. But in Knives Out, oh, it's wonderful. There's lots of setups throughout the film, and they all pay off. Just when you think something's been overlooked or forgotten or dropped, nope, there it is, and it pays off. Subverting expectations. Things start going one way, you learn something new, and things start going in a different way. Oh, you learn something new, and things start going over. They change logically, they change drastically without going left, right, up and down crazy like it's some type of wild, uncontrolled roller coaster. And he does it with the right amount. He's not constantly trying to pull the rug out from you. He's not trying to constantly make you go lift, right. It's just the right amount of balance, right amount of changes and things like that to what happens in the story. So yes, wonderful. A big theme of Star Wars The Last Jedi was failure is the greatest teacher. Rian Johnson is too much of a hard-headed guy to admit his failings with Star Wars The Last Jedi, but I'm pretty sure he learned a lot from that experience, because this movie is just wonderful with the setups and payoffs, with the amount of times that it subverts expectation, and yes, knowing the difference between subverting expectation and pulling the route further. Another thing I can praise is the casting. The cast is wonderful. Everyone plays their part brilliantly, and the characters themselves are all interesting. They all have unique quirks. They all have their own agendas. They all have their own perspective. They're all balanced properly. No one's used too much or too little. It's just wonderful, balance from start to finish. And finally, the mansion itself. Most of the movie takes place in the family mansion, and that mansion is pretty much a character zone. The set design is fantastic. There's all these little intricate details that you pretty much pause at almost any time and just look through the nooks and crannies of themes and little Easter eggs and things like that. It's wonderful. I don't know where they found that mansion. I don't know if they built the mansion, whatever the case. It is a fantastic set. It's just wonderful. So yeah, I have so many praises for this film, but all I can say is kudos, Mr. Johnson. You've done well. It was seen that my theory was correct. Rian Johnson just works best when he's doing his own thing, because Knives Out is wonderful from start to finish. The comedy is great, the mystery is great, the interplay amongst the characters is great, the cast is great, the location is great, the mood and the music is great. Everything is great about this movie except that voice. So, Mr. Johnson, if you're somehow watching this video, or if a friend of Mr. Johnson is watching this video, stay away from other people's properties. Stay away from Star Wars, and you'll do fine, because I loved Knives Out. I give my highest recommendation I possibly can, and I proudly award Knives Out an A+ grade. Okay, that's what I thought of the movie. I would love to know what you thought of the film. Be sure to share whatever comments you like in the comment section. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, or dislike, share, and subscribe. Once again, I'm High Heel Knight. Thank you for watching, and remember, find inspiration everywhere.